computer and perfect. Hi, hello, how are you? This is Miles, and I am Derek Barry's missing hem. And today we are with questions and queries. And today we have a sort of change of events. Both Amber and Jake are not here, which again shows that I am the most dedicated to this podcast, or it just means that I have less of a life than the other two. Either way, we do have a special celebrity guest here today in the studio. We have Jake's friend, Jeff.
Hello. I don't know how much of a celebrity I am, but I try.
There's, A celebrities and then there's D celebrities. So, you can pick a letter, choose somewhere on the alphabet to rank yourself on. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. So the people get a quick introduction of you. What is your relationship to Drag Race? How long have you been watching?
So I started back in season 4 because I was in love with Chad Michaels, and I got to see her. Yes. I got to see her in Calgary when I lived there. So then I had to go back and rewatch all the other seasons after we finished season 4. So I've seen all the episodes, and at the beginning of the pandemic, we were like, let's rewatch all the RuPaul seasons.
Yeah.
So I've seen them all twice now, up to about season 11 or 12. I think we stopped because the recent ones hadn't been made yet. So I haven't seen the recent ones more than once, but I love Drag Race. I love the whole concept of the show. I love RuPaul. I love the inspiration that comes from the show. So I always love to talk about it, and I never miss an episode. So
nice. If you had to pick your 5 favorite contestants, who would they be?
Oh boy, that's really hard. Chad Michaels is definitely on the list because she brought me right into it. And those season 4 queens mean a lot to me because those were the first ones that I saw.
Right.
So like I'll always love Sharon Needles and Latrice Royale. I mean, the classics, right? But I'd have to have Bianca Del Rio on the list. She is maybe the best queen to ever be on Drag Race.
The most consistent. Yeah, I mean,
absolutely. I would like to see her lip sync. I was a little disappointed when she teased us.
That tease was rude. I was like, okay, let's see what you got. And I was like, whatever.
I was so pumped to see her when that curtain came up. I was like, we're gonna get to see her perform. And then of course it was a gag. But still love her to death.
Right.
There are so many, it's hard to pick. Jujubee and Raven, they're fantastic. Manila is amazing. Bob the drag queen. From the older seasons, those are my favorites. Shangela.
Hallelujah.
Shangela, my girl. Hallelujah.
Oh, you got her as a pop? Nice.
My only Funko Pop I have ever bought is Shangela. Yes.
I have her, and I have Katya, and I have Adora as Funkos.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I have to say Alyssa Edwards as well.
Yes, God.
And I saw Valentina perform in real life, and Violet Chachki.
Did she know the words?
Yes, she did. And she didn't have a mask on.
No mask during pandemic time?
Disgusting. I know. She made masks popular before the pandemic started.
And then now that she has to wear them, she said no.
Exactly. And Violet Chachki, when she performs live, she was inside a huge martini glass.
I've seen these clips.
Have you seen? I saw it in Toronto. It was amazing to die for.
I'm so jealous.
So I'd have to put her on that list. I think that was way more than 5. I apologize.
That's okay. Give the people a little extra. I am okay with that.
It's very hard to narrow it down.
No, I totally feel. Even now when people ask me like, who are your favorites? I'm like, right now or like generally? Because that shifts a lot.
Exactly.
I did see Coco Montrese live in Vegas, who was amazing. It was so good. She did a Tina number, and I'm like, you better work. Like, so yeah, there is definitely a difference between seeing queens live versus how they perform on the show.
Exactly.
But yeah.
And how they are with their fan base as well.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
that makes a big
I
difference.
was on that same time where I saw Coco, Silky was a special guest that
Uh,
day. And I will say, like, I wasn't a big this was before All Star 6.
okay.
But I think like after I saw Silky perform, like 2 weeks later, the promo was released. So it was like kind of perfect timing. And
Nice.
so at the time I wasn't a big Silky fan because I believed the edit a little too much, which was like my bad. But it was just like it kind of felt like I was like, man, you gotta let other people take up some camera time too, you know? But
Yeah.
I will say she was so nice at in the garden at Vegas, and really lovely. I got to take pictures of her for her social media. I don't think she posted a single one of them because they were probably bad, but you know what? I did it. And she was just a lovely person. And so when All Star started, I was a big Team Silky person because I was like, she was so nice.
It's funny you say that because the edit did make her try to look like this annoying bitch that never let anybody else speak,
Yeah.
and hogging the airtime. But I actually always liked her. And then when she did that lip sync, killing one after another in
Oh
the
my
lip sync,
gosh.
how could you not fall in love with her after
I was
that?
like, you better work. Do I believe that you want each and every single one of those? No, but I'm okay with you pushing through. And like,
Exactly.
I was so mad when Eureka got the slot over her because I was like, she fought so hard. Just give it to her.
Me too. Eureka is another one that's amazing. I've also seen her live. She's on my list of amazing people. I wished that they could have just brought them both back in because Silky had come so far, but
Right.
Eureka had just went out. She went all that way and got to the final. So it would have been nice to have both of them step in, but I
Yeah.
guess they probably couldn't make that work with
Well, I mean,
logistics and everything.
with how many episodes they're allotted, yeah.
Yeah,
It's definitely a struggle with that. Which is a good segue though, because Silky proved how you do a lip sync SmackDown correctly. And I
absolutely.
think some of the girls misunderstood the assignment this week.
Yeah, I was surprised to see no gimmicks and no extra, like no reveals. And, I just
I
don't.
I am okay with moving away from reveal because I think Sasha Velour really fucked up drag for a little bit. Like I still remember the season 10 finale where like everyone was like dressed as like a microwave bag of popcorn, and I was like, can we do something where it's not so obvious that you got a reveal plan?
Yeah.
But like I think someone had a confession about reveal being like you take that shit off and no one should see that it's coming. Like that's a reveal, you know?
Exactly.
Um and yeah, there's no reveals this episode, which I'm okay with and we'll get into. But I guess we can start right off the top of the episode. Everybody comes in and everyone is shaking because they were all told that they're all going to lip sync.
Yes, everyone except for Deja, who
Deja
is in her glory.
feeling her oats. I loved how Deja was just sitting there willing to push all the buttons.
Me
Like
too.
she was like, what if like 7 people get eliminated? What if the returning girls come back and take your spots? I was like, you better stir this pot, Deja. Like, because out of all of them, you're sitting pretty. Like,
And it worked. They were just getting sweaty and
yeah,
like so nervous. They were talking about, I don't want to face this person because they're a better dancer. And oh my God,
yeah.
it was very nerve-wracking for them.
I also loved all the commentary of like everyone being like, I don't want to go against Georges. Nobody want to go Georges. And then
Yeah,
Georges is sitting there like, she's like, you guys are so fierce competition. I'm worried too. And then her confession is like, I'm not worried. And I'm like, you better work.
exactly.
I do want to ask you, like, since you saw the same Snatch game, do you really think it was the worst Snatch game out of all of them?
There have been a few seasons where there were a number of queens that missed the target and could have chosen better. It's all about the choice, right?
Right.
Choices.
Mhm.
You have to pick a person that's really gonna be funny. First of all, don't pick Mariah Carey. Don't pick somebody who's not going to make us laugh in their normal life.
Right.
Pick somebody that's a character,
Yeah,
and then pick somebody also that you can do justice to,
exactly.
and that you can do well, and that you're comfortable in, but also give your own little spin
Mm.
to. So coming off of the UK versus the world season where I thought their snatch was amazing, with a lot of good different kinds of things. Blue's Snatch was amazing.
Oh my gosh. Yes, it was.
Right. And the two different characters that were fully
Realized.
developed. Yeah, exactly. And the Misery character from
Kathy
Bag of
Bates.
Chips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. So coming from that, and I just had watched that, and then watching this episode, it was very disappointing.
It was.
But I don't think it was as bad as they said. I could have chosen a bottom two that were the worst.
Yeah. Which would they be, out of curiosity?
Actually, I can't remember who right now it was. I have a feeling it was Jasmine and Georges.
Okay.
Who were you two? Do you remember?
So my picks would have been Jasmine and Willow Pill, because I found that the Drew Barrymore flatlined the hardest out of them all.
Yes, her characterization was good, but she had no jokes.
Right. Yeah.
And Drew Barrymore can be funny, actually.
Right.
But she didn't take that side of Drew.
Yeah, and she played it really demure and sort of soft. And I was like, I need you to pick something bigger. I will say, like, something I will give Bosco credit for is she had props. They were funny. The props were really funny.
Yeah. And Lady Camden wasn't horrible.
When they were like, you were bad, I was like, I laughed. Like, when like she was like, a fairy tale, like that made me chuckle, you know? Like,
yes.
I was like, I don't think it was a winning performance, but it was at least safe.
Exactly.
The Tammy Brown, as a big Tammy fan, I was disappointed because I felt like there was so much more you could do.
Yes, in the workroom, it seemed like she was gonna have it down, and Rue was really laughing at it, and she had the mannerisms.
Yeah.
But then she kind of lost it. Again, she just kind of fell apart during the show. She didn't know what to say, and
not one single Teletubby line. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. You know, like, and now that's not to say that she didn't do it and they just cut it. Like, I don't know. But from what we saw, I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, you never know what they cut. They needed us to think that everybody else was terrible, so they might have shown the worst parts of Tammy Brown.
And then it's also like, you know, they're like, oh, this is the worst Snatch Game ever, and I'm like, I still remember season 4. I still remember Drag Race Down Under. You know, like, there were bad Snatch Games.
Yes, I agree. This was not the worst.
No, like, was it great? No. But like the words, all I have to say is Snooky Wookie Whoosh Whoosh, you know? Like,
there was nothing spectacular. Like, even Deja's, it was good. It deserved to win, but it wasn't like over the top amazing like some of the things we've seen, like Judge Judy or you know. So it could have been even better.
Sorry, go ahead.
But nothing was horrible, I didn't think.
Yeah, no. What for you is the best Snatch Game performance? Number 1.
Oh boy, Juju did a really good. Eartha Kitt.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, that's a hard decision. Bianca, Judge Judy, Chad Michaels, Cher. I mean, she does that for a living.
Shit gigs.
That might have, like, because she studies that so much. Derek Barry as Brittany, like they do that for a living.
Yeah.
So they put a lot of practice into it. I also like when they do other queens. Like, I seem to remember, did Alaska do Lady Bunny?
Yes, she did. That was on season 5.
That was really funny too. Alaska is a real character. I forgot her on my amazing favorite
I prefer
list.
her May list over her Lady Bunny, but
yeah,
because I will sometimes talk like that to my boyfriend, where like he'll ask me to do something, I'd be like, oh, you know, like
who is your favorite?
So season 5 is my first season, and so for that reason, Jinx's little Edie is up there for me. Like, every time I feed my cat, I'd be like, the label's all faded. I never know if it's the pate or giblets for the cat. You know, like every time, like on clockwork. Whenever something bad happens or like surprising happens when I'm with my boyfriend, I'm like, it's quite the scandal, actually. You know, like I quote that Snatch Game so much. It's that one. And I was really, really impressed with Shay's Flavor Flav. As a person who's watched Flavor of Love, like it made me so happy.
I didn't see Flavor of Love, but I saw him on, I think it was The Surreal Life.
Mhm.
And yeah, that was a really good impersonation
Yeah,
for sure.
it's wild how good that impression was. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
enough about Snatch Game. Let's get into this Lollapalooza. Before they start lip syncing, Jasmine and Daya's relationship. If I've never like they're like, oh, we're sisters. I'm like, y'all are some abusive, toxic relationship because I
Yes.
don't see sisterhood at all. And I love how Daya always says this line. I was like, oh, she's just a sister. I just want to smash into the floor. And I'm like, you want to be saying that on national TV? Like,
That's the first thing I wrote down was Bitter Betty.
she's not on this season.
Because,
That's Stragula.
because she was so bitter, and like it's almost like she's jealous of Jasmine in a way, and they have this love-hate relationship. She
Yeah.
was putting her down so much at the beginning. No offense.
No offense.
You
I
know
was like,
somebody's gonna bring out something nasty when they start with no offense.
right. I was like, bruh, you can't just like hedge your nasty state with no offense. Like, that's what.
But
Go ahead.
sorry, but to go from that at the beginning where she's putting her down, and you guys have had, her and Georges have had a lot, you've been in the bottom a lot, she was saying, and so like you should have gone home.
Mhm.
We shouldn't be in this position and having to save ourselves. But to go from that to the end of the episode after Jasmine's last lip sync and how much she stood up for her was
Mhm.
really interesting. It was neat
Yeah,
to see the transition of Diabetes from the start of the episode to the end of the episode.
I
But
do
sorry, I
agree.
cut you off.
No, I don't even remember what I was gonna say, but no, I do agree that I like Daya because she's a more complex character. Like she's definitely getting the villain edit, but they're giving her a little more brave way. I will say it's not the same grace as other queens of color who've gotten the same edit are given. You know, there's less chances of being a complex human being. I mean, Fifi O'Hara, the Vixen, Roxy Andrews, like they all got really buried in their edit
They
to
did.
an upteenth degree. And there wasn't as much reprieve given to them as Daya's getting. So
Exactly. I agree.
I'm like, I'm glad we're taking this a more serious of like you giving her a better chance to be human. I just wish the same opportunities were given to other queens you've given the same edit to, but that's a conversation for another day.
Me too. I like it when a queen can come back and redeem themselves. And unfortunately, I really liked Fifi after season 4.
Me
And
too.
she went way down. Like when they were saying she was coming back, I was so excited. I was pumped because, as I
Right.
said, season 4 was my favorite season, my first season. So, and then she just totally destroyed herself, and
Yeah.
the edit destroyed her as well.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I find if you had a chance to watch Untucked for season 4, you would have a better understanding of how Fifi works as a person. Because there's still explosive moments of Fifi and Untucked. I'm not gonna say that there isn't. But when she comes to Jiggly's defense about like broken homes and stuff, and they're both having this like teary moment together, like you could see this like hurt kid that Fifi was and like where this all comes from. And it makes her seem like such a like more complete person. And I feel like a lot of people just kind of ignore that. Or when Fifi gave her win to Chad for getting to call his loved one, like there were really great moments of Fifi in season 4 that people forget
Yes,
about. And it's really
exactly.
frustrating that like people are still like 10 years later going on Jeremy's page and giving him like hate and shit. And I'm like, come on. Like
I know they always remember the last thing they see, right?
right.
If they would have done like a little montage as she was leaving of all the good times she did,
Yeah.
then we could remember she has a lot of redeeming qualities,
Yeah.
and she's still a person, and she doesn't deserve to be attacked.
Right.
She gave us some great television.
She
So
did. Like season 4 would not be as good of a season if it weren't for Fifi or the character of Fifi. Like it just wouldn't.
exactly that
Sorry.
that butting heads of her and Sharon, that I live for that. Go back to Party City where you belong.
Yeah. The future of drag. The future.
How can you she's classic, she's
Yeah.
a legend. So it's
Um,
unfortunate that she gets a lot of hate.
I agree. And so with Hate, we move into they just filling her oats. Jasmine and Daya are butting heads, and we're on the main stage. There's not much to talk about besides the lip syncs in this episode. And this random pit crew member gets to choose the order of the queens going. Calix, I think was his name, who I've never seen ever before. I'm like, who's this man? Where did he come from? Where's Jason? Where's Bryce?
I know.
Like,
exactly.
Is it their day off today? Like,
was it out with the old and in with the new?
Yeah.
Or?
And then the other thing was like, I hate to say it, but I was like, he ain't cute. I don't know who this man is, but like, I miss Jason.
I was missing Jason as well.
I mean, the person I miss the most is Sean. I wish Sean would come back, but like,
was he the one with the hairy chest?
Yeah, the tattoos and like the handlebar mustache. I'm like,
yes.
Oh, he's so
I love. Yes.
Every time he's on my screen, I'm like, hi.
That's worth the rewatch right there to watch the first few seasons.
Like, oh, it's Sean. I mean, Bruno's also a new addition who I do like, but he's also not here today. Like, this random pick, remember, who I've never seen before. Not even when they do like the massive picker challenges. I'm like, what?
Yeah, where did he come from? And you would think that they would give a little bit of airtime to a couple of them rather than just one. Okay, Calix, come back and do another ball.
Like, okay,
give somebody else a chance.
But we do end up with Calix choosing Jasmine as going first, which is interesting because we all thought Jasmine was going to eat. And we'll get to it, but Jasmine gets to pick her opponents, which I love a petty queen moment. I love when Kenny flips over milk faster than Speedy Gonzalez. I love when Jasmine was like, Betty. And so I was like, you better work. You better choose her. But then, much to Jasmine's chagrin, she realizes that Daya then gets to pick the song, which is, I like this. I like them not knowing how the system works.
Yes. It was a very dun dun dun.
Yeah. Because Jasmine was hoping she'd just get to pick like a Beyonce song and just move on, right?
Exactly. But that backfired on her because Daya got to pick the song, and then she picks Respect by Aretha Franklin.
And so the lip sync happens. And how did you feel about this lip sync?
So I wrote down some notes about each lip sync. That one I said that Daya, they were both really good. And I say this about all of Jasmine's lip syncs. So it's unfortunate she went home, really, but they were both really good. Daya just had one more accessory, that nice necklace. Her hair was a bit more interesting. It had those streaks in it. And she upstaged Jasmine literally and kept going to the very front of the stage. At one point, I thought she was going to fall off.
Pull a honey mahogany. No, honey that part.
And Jasmine noticed that and talked about it in the confessional, but didn't do anything about it. She let her. She was too generous as a performer with all three of her lip sync opponents. She was too generous, too giving, sharing the stage. You got to take your moment. Get in there, fight. Show us that you need to be here more than this bitch beside you.
Yeah, I do think so. Everyone was like, "Ooh, Daya 8, Daya, nah." I was kind of supported by both queens in this lip sync. Like, if you're gonna do Aretha, you better do it right. And I was watching this as a person of color. I was watching this, and I'm like, this is a very white performance. I was like, ain't nobody got soul on either performance, but okay. I will say, I honestly thought Jasmine won this one because I find the way Daya lip syncs, there's just no real life in her eyes when she lip syncs. But my issue with all her lip syncs so far is just like she doesn't seem to be like into the song with any of them. It just kind of be like, I'm a queen who's lip syncing, and I'm like, okay, but like I'd like to see you enjoy yourself while you're doing this. And I don't ever get that from Daya when she lip syncs.
I could totally see that. I could totally have seen it going either way. They both did
Mhm.
a good job, but nobody really totally felt the soul of it.
Yeah.
And I think Rue really took everything into consideration,
Yeah.
previous challenges and who she thinks will be more successful moving forward.
Yeah.
I don't think it was all about the lip sync,
I agree.
unfortunately.
I do think track record was put into consideration for this outcome because I was like, I had a really hard time understanding why Daya won. And I rewatched it and I was like, okay, I can see it a little bit more. But in my initial viewing, I was like, that girl lost. Like, there's no way around this. Like, she lost. um, but okay, so Daya moves on. I will say something I loved. I love Deja being alone in the room and just like vibing by herself. I was like, you got
Me
it right,
too.
Deja.
And I love that she also got dressed up, even
Yeah,
though she didn't have to perform.
right.
She could have just sat on that couch in her boy drag.
I would have loved that. Could you imagine she just walks down the runway and just like slacks in like a hoodie? And I was like, peace.
And she totally could have.
I,
So I kind of respect that she went all out. One
yeah.
thing I have to say about Deja is I'm not a big fan of her makeup.
Okay.
It almost looks like you take a powder puff and you just go like this at the end, and she's got a whole bunch of white here. She
Uh-huh.
needs to blend more.
Okay.
If you look at the other queens, they don't have this huge white chunk here.
Mhm.
It almost looks like she's wearing a mask sometimes.
I do think it might have to do with being a bar queen and working with like less adequate lighting. And so you're trying to light this area up a little bit more. And I feel like she's not used to the higher lights and the high definition cameras. And that's why it's feeling more
Yes, more
yeah.
pronounced. Like the stage makeup is different. So you can see that in the pageant queens, they're more
Yeah.
smoothed out, and they're more prepared for that kind of lighting. So that totally might be it. But
Yeah.
nobody's ever read her for it. So
Yep.
I
So
didn't
I
know
guess
I didn't know if I was alone in this opinion. So I wanted to say it on the podcast
yeah,
because there's probably other people out there that are thinking it but aren't saying it.
no worries. Yeah, no, it never struck me as too noteworthy, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
um,
Maybe this week, like tonight's episode, you'll
oh
watch
yeah.
and you'll be like, he's right. That's a little too much white right here.
I mean, at this point, I'm fully like Deja for top two. Like, I'm like, let's go, Team
Yeah, I
Deja.
do love her. Like, if that's the one thing, if I had to critique, that
Yeah.
would be it. Otherwise, she's amazing. I love her
Mainly
attitude.
because my thing is like, she was she was the only one. I'm still mad about this. But when the runway was shoulder pads, she was the only one who did the assignment correctly. I'm like, you need
Yes.
to have pads. Like, line back her shoulders is what I'm looking for. Like,
Exactly. That was so disappointing.
I was so mad at everyone else. I was like, she did what needed to be done.
Yes, she killed that.
But all right. Diane is safe, to my surprise, but not to the internet's apparently. And then we find out that Jasmine
Daya.
has two more chances to save herself. But then the next lip sync, Calix, also stupid name, Calix.
Yeah, it is. Why not
It's
Alex or
right.
Callum?
Like
But
it's
Calix?
like it sounds like Cowlicks, like you know the thing that like small kids have, you
Yes.
know? Like,
Calix, come back out.
yeah. I was like, "Ugh, no.
It's an unfortunate name.
Like I was like, did you choose that yourself? Because you might want to rethink that. Do you ever receive for that still? Like, what's the refund policy on this? And Calix comes back and picks Willow as the next lip syncer.
Yes.
And Willow is playing this game so strategically. She should be on Survivor, honestly.
Yes. Thinking 3 steps
Right?
ahead. Yes.
She's like, I'm gonna pick the person who's gonna pick the song I want to do.
That was amazing.
I was like, this is smart. I really like this. And she picks Bosco, and Bosco then picks Never Too Much by Luther Vandross. I lost my damn mind. I was like, Luther on Drag Race? I could not believe it.
Yeah, that was crazy. And she was shocked to get picked. Bosco was like, she I don't think she even realized it was happening. She was dumbfounded.
Yeah.
She's like, how did Willow pick me like over all the other people? She was shocked.
Right.
That really threw her for a loop.
Oh no, she got scared. She's like, fuck. Like, I wasn't expecting this. And this, I think, was my favorite lip sync of the night. I really like this one. Also mainly because like I like Luther was played in my house a lot growing up. So I was like, I knew all the words. And I was like, okay. Like, and Willow doing a little like guitar, like strumming, like was so stupid, but it was really funny.
I loved that they brought that song in. It's great to bring in a whole mix of different genres, and I love that as well.
I love when they choose like a wacky male song to lip sync to. Like one of my favorites is Still Living in America with Raja O'Hara, Mercedes Mon Diamond. That is one of my favorite lip syncs. It's so stupid. Like, especially when like Raja loses her bus driver wig. How do you lose a little kitty cat wig is my first question. But like, and she just like kind of slides it off. I'm like, okay. But
smooth.
Right? What were your thoughts on this Luther lip sync here?
Again, I thought they were both great. I didn't think there was a bad lip sync in the entire night, so it was very enjoyable. But they all kind of played it safe with their outfits. Their outfits were good, but they weren't like amazing or stunning.
Right.
Aside from, I think Camden was amazing.
I was gonna say Camden had the best look of the night. Like,
totally. That pink mohawk that went up here and showing the right parts of her body, but still having an extravagant
I think
costume.
she described it as being Sonic the Hedgehog's like aggressive, like pink girlfriend. I was like, I'm here for this description.
I lived for that. That was the best. I agree. Best look of the night for sure.
Yeah.
Even better than Rue's look, which was pretty good, but it was just a little too fluffy, I thought. So it didn't accent, it didn't show off her beautiful physique, which she has. So it could have just been a little bit more flattering. But I said that was a close call with Willow and Bosco. Willow really captured the essence of the song, I thought, a little bit more. And I loved Willow's purple hair and necklace.
Yeah.
And Bosco's legs for days. I put legs for days in capitals.
Yeah. Like leggy legend. Like what? Not as nice as Naomi's legs, because that is the one queen for legs. But
true, you'll never beat Naomi.
Yeah.
But it's a darn good pair of legs.
I will say, I'm like, we've been using this like bikini and like lingerie like for 2-3 runways now.
Yeah, it's getting a little tired.
Yeah. I was like, let's mix it up a little bit here.
Exactly. I think they wore something comfortable too that they could lip sync in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and move around in. Yeah.
No, I totally get it. And then for so Willow ends up winning this lip sync. I agreed, I think, with that statement. So I was like, okay, cool. And then we move on to our third lip sync, which is this the 3-way lip sync? This is Angie, Camden, and George's.
Yes, everybody loves a good 3-way.
I don't know more than 2 people per lip sync. I find, because Drag Race doesn't make an effort to show all 3 people at the same time, they do too many cuts and it becomes really messy, and I have a hard time seeing who actually wins because they're not consistent with it. Like, if they want to do a 3-way, they have to have 3 separate screens side by side going on for each screen.
I agree.
The only way to do it, I think.
Because you really miss 66% of each person's performance. And that's a lot.
So Georges gets to pick the lip. No, Georges gets to pick the song, I guess, right?
Radio by Beyonce was picked by Georges. Yes. So they didn't get to pick their partners because they were just the 3 left over. But Calix came out and picked the pink ball, and it was Georges' name, so she got to pick Radio by Beyonce.
I like how everyone, before the lip sync started, everyone's like, oh, well, she's going to pick the Jennifer Lopez song, which I thought so too. I was like, well, I mean, it's Georges. Like, I could see her killing that.
Yeah, and she looked like her.
Yeah. And I was like, huh. I also really, have you noticed Georges' outfit tonight? She wore the same earrings that she wore for her win in the ball. Like the little yellow squigglies. I was like, oh, so we're reusing some costumes today, huh?
She's recycling.
She's like, well, well, Rue liked these earrings enough to give me the win, so maybe I could just like wear them and win the lip sync. Like,
she looked good, but again, they all looked a little simple, and I think it
yeah.
was just because of the lip sync. What did I say? I said all three looked stunning. Like their makeup was flawless. Yeah, Camden's huge pink mohawk. Georges's body, Audie, I wrote.
Yep. Exactamundo.
And flawless makeup, and Angeria is always polished.
Right.
And to be honest, I would have chosen her as the winner, but it was very close, and I didn't get to
Yeah.
see 66% of each person's performance.
So it was one of those things where I missed half the performance because it was just all over the place. So I was like, I don't know, I guess any of them. Like,
Yeah, it was very tough to decide. Any one of the three could have won. I think where Camden lost it, and Deja pointed it out, was there was the one death drop, then the next one,
and she
and
didn't do
then
it.
she
Yeah.
didn't do it. It was like, why didn't you follow suit? You missed the cue on that
Yeah.
one. So that's where she kind of lost it, but her lip sync was really good. Her energy was good. I thought Angeria and Georges were both phenomenal, but I would have chosen Angeria in the end.
Right. Also, season 14 must have budget, because this season we got not one but two Beyonce songs, which we've never had in the history of the show. Like, we had one Destiny's Child way back in season 1, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like, and so for them to afford the rights to two Beyonce songs, I was like, I see this budget, Drag Race. Don't act like you don't have it.
Yes, it has exploded with all of
Yeah.
its spin-off seasons and the awards that they've been winning in recent years. So I really love that it's more exposed, because when season 1, 2, and 3 were airing, I didn't even know the show existed.
Right, because they weren't advertised really.
No, they were on Logo TV and Out TV, like special gay channels that you have to pay extra for.
Yeah.
And so it's unfortunate because they didn't get that exposure that would have really helped them. But now everybody knows what Drag Race is, I think.
Right. So yeah, Georges wins, which I guess, I don't know. Like, again, this was a hard lip sync for me to keep track of, so I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at it, but if we were gonna go by, she did just as well as Angeria, and then you stuck track record in there, that's why I definitely would have chosen Angeria. I think she had a little bit of the edge.
Yeah.
But they gave it to Georges.
Right.
So I was okay with it.
Yeah, whatever, fine.
Yeah.
I also, radio? Really? You have the budget for Beyonce songs and you choose radio? I was a little disappointed. Like, I was like, you could have got like Pretty Hurts, anything from the Lemonade album, like Diva. Diva would be such a good lip sync.
Yeah.
I'm so mad it hasn't been chosen
Diva.
yet.
Exactly. Maybe those ones were a little bit more money.
I guess, right? Whatever. I don't know. I was just like, radio? Like, really?
Yeah, of all the songs, that's one of the ones you're gonna choose.
Especially because, like, I could not even tell you what the melody to that song is after a week of watching it. Like,
me neither.
It just doesn't stick to my mind as much as like other Beyonce songs do. And I'm just like, okay, like, sure, why not? I guess it's better than nothing, but like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then we move on to our next lip sync, which was
Lady Camden and Bosco.
And
so the pink ball picked Lady Camden.
Right.
And then Bosco, she picked Bosco. Again, Bosco got picked and was shocked again.
Bosco was the weak leg of the group. Have you noticed, like, they were all like, as soon as Willow picked Bosco, people were like, oh, there's blood in the water. Let's get her. Like,
yeah. Even with those legs pointing out at them.
Like, damn.
She must have made a big deal about not being a dancer or something. Maybe there were some behind the scenes things that we didn't see, because they thought she would be an easy person to beat. They kept picking her.
They were almost right too. Like,
yeah, because they did beat her. And then she picked
Don't Let Go by En Vogue.
Yes.
And I am so glad this song was chosen, because earlier in the girl group episode, when they were talking about their favorite girl groups, Angie was like, was the one who brought up En Vogue as being her favorite girl group, which I'm so glad she did, because everyone was talking about, like Destiny's Child and like Spice Girls. She's like, fine, all fine. But On Vogue is the only group where you can say each of those girls were talented at dancing, at singing, at songwriting. Like they all were great. There wasn't a Michelle in the group. There wasn't a Mel C in the
Exactly.
group. Sorry, Mel C, but you know it's true. Like they were all good. And so I'm like,
Exactly.
so glad that On Vogue was chosen. Don't Let Go is another one of the songs that I know by heart. And I was like, if I was up there, Don't Let Go would be my pick. And any other girl better be scared. And so.
And they did it justice, I thought.
Camden did it so well.
Yes.
Whoever was the cameraman for this video needs a raise, because they did that like side zoom in when they were both in the frame, and I was like, this is some good camera work. Like,
yeah, we need more of that so we can see more people. Or I like what you said too about the split screen where you can see both persons' performance. A little combination of all of that, I think, would help so that we don't miss too much.
And I know Angie was mad she didn't get the On Vogue song.
Oh yeah.
Angie said earlier that she's a Park and Bar girl, and this is the song to do it.
I wrote down the Park and Bark. I thought that was awesome. She said
the best way to do it. Don't gotta move. Just gotta emote, and you're set.
Exactly. It's all about the face and the emotion. Which
something like Kenya Michaels did not understand with Natural
Woman. Exactly. When I think of that, I think of Latrice Royale standing in one place and just giving it all from your soul, and it's in your face. You don't even have to look anywhere else. Just look into her eyes, and she will take you to a different world.
Right. 1,000%. And so we get to Camden and Bosco finish lip sync, and I think from the first 5 seconds, I was like, Camden's winning this.
Me too. She felt it more.
Yeah. Bosco didn't understand, probably because she's too young, didn't understand where the song came from, didn't understand the assignment for the song, and didn't do enough to really emote with it.
Yes. What did you think of Daya's reactions to Camden's lip sync when she's like, I want to sit on her lap when she comes back?
I was like, Daya really said lesbian rights today. Like,
yeah. She was living for it.
She finished her assignment, and then all that adrenaline, she was like, I'm horny. You know, like she was like, I'm ready to go. I'm riled up. Nipples are hot. Let's go. You know?
And I like that she owned it right away too. As soon as Camden came into the workroom, she's like, you got me all warmed up. Like she told her right out how she felt.
I was like, don't do this. Camden belongs to Angie, and there's no other relationship I will accept.
I agree.
So yeah. And after Camden and Bosco, we get our next lip sync of the night, where Angie and Jasmine face off to the J-Lo song that Georges did not pick, which was what was the song?
Love Don't Cost a Thing.
How'd you feel about this lip sync?
I thought it was okay. Angeria's was a little bit tighter, I thought, than Jasmine's.
I agree.
And again, Jasmine was too generous with the stage. Angeria came forward a couple times. Jasmine goes to the back too much. When you go upstage, you're kind of taking the focus away from yourself, and that's not something you ever want to do in a lip sync for your life.
I agree. Yeah.
I was loving that they picked a J-Lo song. She just won the Icon Award at the iHeart's Music Awards, so it was really nice to showcase her during her special time right now. And yeah, Daya gave Jasmine lots of props for this one, which that was interesting to see. That's where we saw the change, and I was shocked because I thought everybody would be like, oh yeah, Angeria deserves it. Because of track record and friendships and stuff, but Daya really kept sticking up for her in this case. What did you think of the lip sync?
I thought this was the most forgettable lip sync of the evening, mainly because I have a hard time recalling a lot of it. I remember feeling like Angie was winning this, but I've been an Angie stan since the cast was released, so for me it's like nothing gets to touch Angie. She's gonna make it to the end, and that's what I care about. So yeah, I thought it was good. Like I said, just not really memorable for me. A better J-Lo pick than a Beyonce pick for song choices.
Yes,
I
definitely a more
still,
memorable song.
I still kind of really want them to do Poppy, which I think is J-Lo's best song, which is controversial, I'm sure, but I think it's just a good song with a good beat.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, was serviceable, a serviceable lip sync.
Yeah.
I would have fished out $1 or $2. And yeah, probably that's it.
And I think also at this point you've gone through so many lip syncs in the evening, you're just kind of like, okay, let's get to the final one.
Yeah.
I think you might have been getting a little like, that's what I was starting to feel
Yeah.
too. This is lip sync number 5 out
Yeah.
of 6, and it's just like, okay, Andrea is probably going to win. Did we really need this one? You
And
know?
then the thing is also, Jasmine's mistake here was she pulled out all the same tricks that she's already done.
Yeah.
And it's at this point where I'm like, I'm gonna need you to switch it up. Like, just this ain't it. This ain't it.
Yeah.
And so yeah. Then we finally move on to our last lip sync of the evening, which is Jasmine versus Bosco. And I was starting to sweat because as a local Pacific Northwesterner, Seattleite, I was like, I cannot see my hometown girl go home now. This is not the time.
I felt that too. I'm not even from there, but I really didn't want to see Bosco go. And I was getting worried at this point as
because
well.
based off the performances Bosco has been giving, I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, bitch, you need to bring it now. Now's your last
This
chance.
is the moment that counts, as Gia Gunn would
Exactly.
say.
Exactly.
The doors she's opened.
Yeah, I said that this time Bosco really felt the music.
Yeah.
She finally, I saw her come to life in this song.
This was Swept Away by Diana Ross, the boss. And I mean, I was kind of waiting for it because I was like, there's no way Rue's gonna pass up on a Diana Ross song, right? Like, it's his favorite band, it's his favorite artist, like, no way.
Yeah.
And finally a song came along that Bosco can be a fully realized whore. Like, and it just fits the song. And like,
exactly.
Like, she even said herself, she's like, I'm pulling out all my stripper moves. I'm like, yep, this is the song to do it. And
yeah. And it worked.
Right.
We were swept away.
Yeah, like when her legs were like straight up in the air and she was doing that thing where like they cross over each other, I was like, now I am not one to partake in the female anatomy, but I will say this is doing something, you know?
Yeah, definitely. This will make some heads turn.
Right.
And then so when we realized that she's the winner and it is Jasmine that's going to go home, I thought Jasmine was very humble. I thought she took it really well. She's a really nice person.
Yeah.
And I was almost hoping for a little bit that that golden ticket would be inside that chocolate bar. But we've had so many episodes now where no one's gone home.
Yeah.
And it actually made me count the amount of episodes because I was thinking, is this going to be the longest season of RuPaul's Drag Race ever?
So far.
And because this was season 11 with 8 queens and a golden ticket left. So we still have another episode that's going to be a non-elimination.
That is, I do wonder if one of the queens who make it to the top 4 just end up having a ticket.
I wonder. Oh yeah, that would eliminate that episode.
Yeah.
I never thought of that one. That's true.
But I mean, that's assuming that production just lets them randomly choose the golden ticket and doesn't move it around behind the scenes, which I doubt. So probably not, but it'd be nice to see.
So then that made me look at other seasons and how many episodes they all had. And there have been a couple, like season 13 had 16 episodes.
Right. 13 and 14 both were given 16 episodes by the network.
Yeah. So it actually mathematically does work out, depending on that golden ticket variable. And season 3 had 16 episodes, which I thought was really weird. And I remember that season being a little bit long at the end.
I think that was because we didn't have 8 people left at this point in the episode. Because Carmen went home and then got to come back for reasons.
And then went home again right away.
Yeah. And I think there was a double Shantae that season as well.
Yeah.
I think that double Shantae was with Carmen too, actually, right? That was Yara versus Carmen for Hey Mickey.
I think it was, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one was long.
That one was long.
Most of them were 14 episodes.
Season 8 wrapped at 11 episodes.
Season 8 was 10. Yeah, I wrote it down. 10 episodes. I was like, what happened in season 8?
It's because season 8 had the 100 queens, have walked through the workroom. So they had a smaller cast to fit that anniversary.
That's right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And season 1 had 9 episodes, but it was the first season, so they were just getting going. And then season 2 had 12. So it was interesting to see the numbers.
And then All Stars 1 had 6 episodes, but
yes, I wrote the All Stars ones too because I was curious. 6 was short, but that was a bad idea with the partners, and that just made the season go twice.
But then what is UK versus the World's excuse? They didn't have teams, and they were also 6 episodes.
I know, and only 9 queens to start off with.
Yeah, and only 5 eliminations. UK versus the World is a fever dream.
For me, that was just like a bonus to see some of my favorites do a couple little extra things and then learn about queens I didn't know. Because as I told you last night, I haven't seen the Thailand seasons and I live for Pangina. So now that's going to make me want to go and watch those seasons. And the Holland queen, I can't remember her name. Yes, amazing as well. So she's now great. I kind of want to see that.
She was a lot of fun on her season too. I liked her.
Yeah,
she kind of gave me like Fifi energy of just being a workhorse and just only caring about the competition, and that's kind of it.
Okay,
but impressive. Kind of like Rosé. Rosé would kind of also was the same sort of cat like archetype, just being like a robotic workforce.
Yeah, get her done.
Yeah.
And then with her injury, unfortunately, that kind of impeded her chances in the end. I'd like to see her come back at some point.
I love Rosé. I would just like more personality.
Yeah, and I think she has it. I think she was just so focused.
Yeah,
we lost some of it.
Right. And so Jasmine pulls out the golden ticket and sorry, I just got attacked by my cat.
When she gets older, she'll be like this and she'll just sit down, hopefully.
That's what I'm hoping for. You're still a rascally teenager. You're back there somewhere. And pulls out her bar of chocolate and finds out that it's chocolate. Which I'm happy for. I was really scared they were just gonna do another golden ticket. I was like, somebody needs to go home. I can't be doing this where nobody's going home every episode.
Even the very first 2 episodes they've sent somebody home, but then brought them both back in episode 3
because the last person who got eliminated was Carrie Colby, which was last month.
Yes.
Like damn,
that's a long time in between.
That's excessive, if you ask me. So Jasmine goes home. I would like to see a return from Jasmine. Not my favorite this cast, but I think it's because Jasmine was just really young, and I find younger queens have a harder time understanding who they are, especially on something as big as a TV show. We noticed it with Survivor too. Like Will Wall as an 18-year-old was a really weird player because he just was really uncertain half the time. And then I think the other thing that's kept Jasmine from doing great is she figured out that she was trans while filming. And I don't care who you are, that is a weird headspace to be in while you're competing. Like,
absolutely. That was a moment for sure.
So I'm pretty sure if she has time to settle with herself a little bit more, she could be a little bit more of a contender. I just think there was a lot going on in Jasmine's head this season for her to really achieve the crown.
I agree. I see her similar to a Jan journey, where her first season she was kind of rough around the edges too, and just kind of figuring out who she was, and then she came back and impressed everybody. I felt like
funny enough, I felt like more people were less impressed with Jan her second run than her first.
Oh really? Like I loved it.
A lot of people were feeling like Jan was just too neurotic her second run. and which I get.
Yeah, I could see that.
I,
But I felt like she had more confidence
right.
and knew more about who she was and what
Yeah.
she wanted to accomplish. So I think Jasmine has a lot more to give,
Mhm.
and I definitely agree with her coming back at some point.
Yeah, not soon. I do not want to see her
No,
within the next 3 All-Stars. Please no.
exactly. Don't bring her too
Um,
soon. And I think that was with Jan too. They could have waited a little bit longer to
right.
bring her back as well.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, that's the episode, really. Daya again was really feeling Jasmine was winning this lip sync. Something about her butt looking good when she arched it.
That did look really good.
I was like, okay, I see that. Fair enough. But yeah.
What are your predictions for next week? Because
So
when I
we have
watched
a
your preview special, when you were talking about the upcoming season, and you didn't have high hopes for Georges, and that's my pick for tonight of who I think is the sitting duck ready to go.
yeah, because we saw in the girl group challenge that Georges cannot sing. And we have a Rusical coming up next. A Mulan Rusical, if you will. And I find that the best contenders for a win is either Bosco or Deja. Mainly because Bosco, it fits her aesthetic, Moulin Rouge, really well. So I feel like she could shine with that. Deja just has a good singing voice, so I feel like she could do well with it.
Mhm. Camden is always a really strong
Camden is
character.
pretty safe at this point.
Yeah.
Angie, I find so confusing because the edit has kind of just let her go. Like she's still doing pretty consistent, but she's not getting confessional time as much. And
Yeah.
I'm a little worried that they're kind of just letting her fade into the background so she gets chopped like right before the finale or something. I don't know. I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, me too, because she's very polished. Her runway looks kill. So
Yeah,
I would like to see her in the final as
me
well.
too. And so I think the next people to go is either Georges, but production loves Georges, so I don't.
They seem to. I don't know. She keeps that cat has 9 lives. She just
Yeah.
keeps bouncing back.
The Shoni Fairfax of drag for all my Australian
Yeah.
Survivor fans out there. And yeah, Daya's still here.
She is.
Don't know.
She went home what, episode 1 or 2,
Yeah,
and then came back and has been strong ever
yeah.
since, really.
I don't know if she can. I think she might flounder in this challenge. I don't know. Daya's just complete wild card at this point for me, where I'm like, I don't know.
If she
Like,
doesn't get too much in her head, she might be okay.
yeah,
But it's also going to be interesting to see how she is without Jasmine in the room,
yeah.
because she plays a lot off of her and compares herself to her and is always trying to keep one step ahead of her. Without her there, I'm wondering how Daya is going to function.
I agree. And yeah, who's your winner pick, Jeff?
Oh, it's really tough. At this point, Angeria, as I said, is my favorite look queen.
Yeah.
Um, Deja is a really big character,
Hmm.
but I think overall, with all qualities and thinking of every aspect of a queen and who I want to represent this show, and I would have to say Lady Camden.
Okay. Wow. I feel that. I think it would be an interesting pick for a winner. We haven't had someone like Camden win in a while. So yeah, okay. Um,
How about you?
well, I mean, I'm biased. I gotta root for Bosco since we hadn't had a Seattle winner since season 5. So we haven't had a Seattle Queen do well since All Stars 3. So I would like to see the crown come back to Seattle because we deserve it. And enough of New York doesn't need any more crowns. LA doesn't need any more crowns. Fuck LA. And
So you feel almost obligated to
yeah,
represent your girl.
yeah. I will say seeing Deja win would be interesting. I don't think it's on production's radar. I'm pretty sure they're willing to lose her as soon as she lands on the bottom. But I would like to see her win because I think the kind of queen Deja is doesn't really win. Deja's kind of like a hosting queen, like a bar hosting queen. She's not pageant, she's not alternative, she's just like very old school drag. And we haven't had someone win like that since Bianca, really, if you think about it.
Right.
So I would like to see a Deja win just to sort of bring Drag Race back to its drag roots. But we'll see on that.
Yeah, because even though Angeria is very strong as a look queen, if I want to see somebody perform, I would probably go see Deja over
Right.
Angeria.
Right.
Because are you going to make me laugh or cry or make me feel something?
Yeah.
Or are you just going to look pretty?
Right.
Not saying that she doesn't have some of those other skills too.
Right. I think the girl who just looks pretty is Georges, but
yes, I agree. There's something about Georges that just gets me the wrong way. I don't know if it's the way she talks. She's overconfident, I think. I don't.
yeah.
There's something about her that rubs me the wrong way. So maybe that's why I'm ready for her to go home tonight.
I do think Georges is the youngest on the cast, right? And I
Yeah.
think something about her is that she's not confident in herself because of that. And I think that's why I find Georges to be a little grating, because it seems like a lot of things that Georges does, she's trying too hard. And it just feels like really forced a lot of the times. And so I just want to like grab her by the shoulders. I'm like, just be normal. Like, do you?
Exactly. So you
but
feel it too. Yeah, there's
yeah,
something there.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Last couple questions. Since this is a Lollapalooza episode, I think it's safe to ask you, what are your favorite lip syncs from the show?
From tonight or
From the show as a
from
whole?
all time? Okay, that I do have a good answer for.
Okay.
And I'm not going to pick 7 or 8 different things.
Okay.
My all-time favorite lip sync ever, and it still makes me cry if I watch it, is All Stars 1 when
Dancing on My Own.
Yes, Jujubee and Raven singing together, and then both getting to stay, I believe. They both got to stay, right?
Yeah.
That moment of I have to face my best friend and I don't want her to go home, but I have to fight for my spot here. The lip sync, the real tears, talk about emotion. That made me feel something.
Right. I feel that. This might be controversial. I don't like this lip sync because it's not a lip sync. Like they both kind of just stand there and cry, and based on like emotions, it's a really compelling TV to watch because they're both really into it and like trying to like sort out their emotions, whatnot. But if as it is as a lip sync, I wouldn't tip either of those girls, like gotta do something. Do something, Charlie. Charlie, let's go. Like, but I do agree, for a TV moment, that is a great, memorable moment.
Yes.
The lip sync that is trumps everything in my book, because it still stands in my number 1 spot, is Dita Ritz versus the Princess to This Will Be by Natalie Cole. That
really
is amazing. Not from the Princess because she's not really doing anything, but like Dita eats that lip sync and leaves no crumbs on the plate. Like, it is so good. The little scoot that she does when she chorus hits, like, it's so good.
It definitely was very memorable because I can picture her doing it in my head. I'm surprised they've never had her back as a lip sync assassin.
I don't know either. Like, it's what I've been saying for like since they introduced that twist. I mean, I've been wanting her back for All Stars, but like even just as a lip sync assassin, come on.
Maybe it's in the works. Hopefully somebody's listening and taking notes. Come on, production.
Well, a little like background tea is that she was actually casted for All Star 6, and then they gave her spot to Ginger.
I did not know that. Wow.
So
interesting.
Which makes me a little frustrated because Ginger already had her second chance.
Yeah, and Ginger's got her fame. She, everybody knows Ginger. I would love to see Dita get some more exposure. That's awful that they knocked her out.
because Dina posted a really angry tweet about it when it happened. I was like, you were salty.
That's a tricky thing too, because you don't want to burn your bridge for next time. Season 7.
But I mean, this is a lot of extra bonus content. But I will say it's not the first time WoW has done this, because Willem was originally slotted to be on All Stars 1. And then because Fifi couldn't do it because she got arrested, they took Willem's spot off and gave it to Mimi. And that's why we have Mimi on All Stars 1 instead of...
Which definitely was not a great choice.
No, it wasn't.
It was a choice.
And so Willem had cleared her whole schedule for filming All Stars 1 and didn't book any gigs or not. And then the day she was supposed to pick up, they canceled her. And she had already bought all the stuff for it. And I was like,
I'm a big Willem fan too. I do.
Look, go ahead. Sorry.
At least she's been in a couple movies, thank God. Right. Hurricane Bianca and some other things. But what were you gonna say?
No, I'm a big Willem fan too. My ringtone for when I get a text is Willem being like, "Oh, you must have a telephone." Big Willem fan.
Yeah. She's had other exposure that some of the queens have not had. You see her pop up in a bunch of different places, and it's always exciting. Willem.
It's like, wow, you're alive.
Shangela is another one like that. You never know when she's gonna pop out of somewhere.
Jeez, that was menacing as all hell. Just a little tiny Shangela pop.
If anybody's stoned and watching this, they're gonna be like, "Was that Shangela in the corner?"
Amazing. Very creepy, but amazing. It's like the Annabelle doll, but just Shangela.
Yeah, exactly. Hallelujah.
Yikes. All right, Jeff, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome.
A pleasure to have you. And you're very well informed about Drag Race history, which is nice.
No problem. I know Jake might be away for a while, so if you need me to come back, I'd be happy to do this again. I had a great time.
I'd love that. Any socials or anything you want to drop? Any shameless self promotions?
Facebook I usually have for my own people in my life, but if anybody wants to follow me on Smule, I am a singer and I sing a lot with Jake actually. My Smule handle is at Jeffrey Michael G. Jeffrey is ERY. So that would be a great place. I appreciate follows. I think I've got about 800 followers and I'm really trying to get to 1,000.
Let's get them there then. Get her done.
Yeah, get her done.
As for me, you know the deal. Follow me at Twitter at musical_myles. That is musical_myles. You can also follow us on our Facebook page, Questions and Queries, YouTube channel by the same name. And thank you so much for watching. Go out there and walk some children in nature and have a blessed and highly favored day. Thank you so much. Have a good day, y'all.